We're very excited to be here today. As Jeff mentioned, we are visiting each of the campuses. This is our 7th visit, so hopefully we've ironed out some of the kinks from our early visits as we get to meet with all the key people at the schools, the key alumni groups, the key external relations and communications groups, and talk about the network. And we're very excited with the progress the network has made. We are launching this August. And the network is a very ambitious undertaking as we look to embody all that the Big Ten represents in each of the 11 universities and comprise a very ambitious programming schedule with the latest of technology and launching this network in high def as well as in standard definition is it's a very daunting undertaking, but we're working hard. We're making a lot of good progress. We're hiring up our key executive team. And we will be up to approximately 95 people at launch in August and moving into our new facility located in the River North area of Chicago. So the network is dedicated to the Big Ten fans. It's dedicated to representing the finest of collegiate athletics and academics and all of the universities that comprise the Big Ten represent. We take that job very seriously, and as part of our staffing, I make sure we have people that understand the tradition of these 11 universities, the passion of the fans, and one of my key goals is making sure we're delivering a product that is worthy of the Big Ten name, that is worthy of the 11 schools that represent the Big Ten. And it goes about, as we go about every decision we make, what do the fans want? What's good for the alumni? How do we best represent these universities? So that is a key component as we go forth and build this network. And talking a little bit about a couple different areas, on a programming side, the network is going to have, as we've mentioned, between 350 and 400 live events a year, including football, basketball, Olympic sports, women's sports. For football games, we recently announced our primetime schedule. We will be selecting games along with the other television partner, the ABC, ESPN family of networks of the Big Ten, and we will be selecting those games over the next month or so for the first few games and then continually through the season. We are guaranteed a minimum of one conference game and one non-conference game per school, at least 2 games per school. We anticipate that being more than that for several of the universities. We will be selecting those games on a rotational basis where we'll have some second picks and some third picks, as well as some fourth and fifth picks. And when I mentioned before about the ambition of the network and how we're investing to really deliver a product to the fans, one of the things we're going to be able to do is split our feeds so that fans here can see the Penn State game. If there's 3 or 4 games going on at the same time that we're all producing, the fans of Minnesota will see the Minnesota game, fans here can see the Penn State game, fans of Purdue can see the Purdue game. So we are going to be splitting our feeds when we have more than one game that we're broadcasting at once. And we're going to take that same philosophy with basketball as we televise over 100 plus basketball games. We're working to bring as many games as we can to the air via either scheduling or dual feeds and working as best as we can to get as much product on the network so that the consumer can see as much Big Ten programming as possible. In addition to basketball and football, we're going to have a tremendous amount of Olympic sports, including baseball and hockey and tennis and golf and track and field and all the different sports other than basketball and football. And we really believe that will be a great exposure for these sports that sometimes don't have that level of exposure. And women's sports is a very important aspect of this network. Following up on many, many years ago, the advancements through Title IX and the Big Ten Conference being a champion and a leader of women's sports, we're going to take that to another level and feature a tremendous amount of women's sports on the network as well. We're going to have classic games airing on the network. We have the rights to classic football and basketball games going back to the 60s. We're going to feature certain events and bring back athletes and coaches that took place in those games and really provide in-depth analysis of what those games were like, and we think that'll be a great appeal to fans. In addition, we're going to have campus programming, which is going to be non-sports, that each university is going to be entitled to produce up to 60 hours a year of various programming that's important to them, that talk about key historical elements of the school, feature key arts, key music programs, different milestones, presidential addresses. It's going to really run the gamut, and we're working with each of the schools to come up with a really interesting, entertaining package of programming that we think can be really successful along the lines of what you see perhaps on a Discovery Networks, a National Geographic, a Learning Channel, or other top networks that show this kind of programming. So we're very excited about that as well. And finally, on a programming front, we are going to be having a nightly studio show that will bring the best of the Big Ten to air. The beauty of this is that a Big Ten fan can now get a tremendous amount more coverage of the teams that they follow. If your team's in the tournament and you're getting 20, 30 seconds of coverage on your nightly news or on a general sports program, here we can devote a tremendous amount of time, more highlights, more interviews, more analysis, and really give the fans a lot more of the coverage they're looking for and not necessarily have to sit through sports that aren't of interest to them. So it's really creating a product just really geared towards that fan of the Big Ten sports world. So we're very excited about that. Moving on to distribution, we've had great success in distribution so far. We've already gotten deals done, national deals with DirecTV and AT&T. We've recently signed up about 30 cable operators throughout the footprint. Those deals are moving towards contract status, and once they're officially signed, we'll be announcing all those, and they'll be all on our website as well, so fans can understand which of the systems have already gone on board and which ones we're still talking to. The conversations with the bigger operators, the Time Warners and Comcast and Charters, are going really well. We're very optimistic those deals will get done before we launch in August. The fact that it's early May and we've been able to get a bunch of cable deals done at this point, from my experience, is incredibly ahead of schedule, and we're very optimistic that the fact that we're getting these cable deals agreed to and done is a great sign that those deals will just continue to get done in the months ahead. So we're very excited on the distribution side. And finally, one of the things as we've gone forth with the network that we're really focused on is providing noticing and talking about the benefits that the universities are all going to receive from this network. Everything from the exposure of women's sports and Olympic sports. So coaches of these schools can talk to recruits from Georgia, from Florida, from Texas, and say, you're the student will be on the Big Ten network that you're going to be able to have access to, and you could see your son or daughter play sports. It's a great advancement over other schools that are looking to recruit the same student athlete. So we really feel it could give the university a great leg up in recruiting some athletes that they may not have necessarily had the opportunity for before.